Hey everyone, back with another tutorial. So in this one, I want to talk about how to make space for your lead elements or just making space in your track. And this is an example of basically having a lot of elements playing at the same time and trying to get some of them to cut through, or trying to get the main lead element to cut through. So I was doing this yesterday, and there was an intro melody that we have here, and I was just trying to slot it in and make sure that it cuts through the mix, because it was kind of getting drowned out in the back. And I just wanted to show you a few tips and tricks that I did yesterday to actually make this possible. So I'll show you how it was set up before, and then I'll go through the steps that I did, and you can use this in your own tracks to basically do your mixing. So this is sort of when you have a whole track together and you're trying to mix it down, or you're trying to make space for it. But I'll play it now. I'll show you the intro melody as well, and then we can sort of talk through that here as well. So let's just play this really quickly. Okay, now I have cleaned this up a lot. I actually did this yesterday, but I'm just trying to show you the simple tips and tricks that will make it even better. And I'll talk through how I actually ended up changing the sounds on this, because that was also making a big difference. So the first thing I'll talk about though is let's just look at the mid bass here. So we'll just solo this, and we'll just give it a play. Yeah, okay. So now with that, what was actually happening if I play these together? Okay, so with that, what we can see here is we can kind of see that the mid bass is occupying that space where the lead element is as well. So essentially, in those instances, what you can do now, I've set up some filters here. So like a low, like a high pass and a low pass filter here, which will allow us to control the frequencies of the sound. Now, in particular, in this one, we want to look at this high cut, low pass kind of filter here. So essentially what I've done is I'm just going to turn on the automation for this. Now this is to turn it on and off when I need it. So you can see here it's turned off, here it's turned on, here it's turned, here it's turned off, and here it's turned on again. Now with that, I'm just going to show you the automation of the frequencies. And with that, basically just want to talk about what I did here. So you can kind of see this is controlling the frequency of where this, I guess, a high cut will happen. And essentially you can see here, for example, it's quite open. Here, if we play it, like you can see that's going down. Now, that just creates tension within that part of the track. Now, however, here, what you'll see is what we have done here in order to create space in this part of the mix. I've just actually realized I should probably actually do it here as well. Is basically, let's just actually make that adjustment now. Yeah, so essentially what happens is when the melody kicks in, you kind of want to remove the bass line from the high end to allow the high end of the leads to come through. So I'm just going to play this in solo first. I'm going to turn that on there as well. Fix that other part up in a later session. I don't need to do that here, but okay. So we'll have it turn on. And what we're going to do Now you can see in that it has reduced the top part of the basically taken out the high end. You can see it's taken out the high end from the mid bass, so that will allow this to breathe a lot more. So if we play this, and I'll turn it on and off, and I'll show you the differences. See, as soon as I turned off this filter, you can see how much of that high end of the bass line was bleeding into that sound. So we'll just do it again on and off. I'm just going to turn it on and off here. Yeah, so we can see how that makes a massive difference to cleaning that up. So yeah, now the high is coming through a lot better. So if I just play that in totality. Now, when you play the whole thing together, you may not hear it, but you need to do these kinds of cleanups, because when you do, it's not about making massive changes. In solo, you can hear it very prominently, but when it's in the mix, you can't. But it's about making those small changes over and over again to achieve a clean, balanced mix. It's very important. Okay, so the next thing that I did was this runner was actually here. Sorry, I should explain that. This is a set of driving acids and sequences, so we're just going to play those. You see that's got a phaser on it to move it left and right. Now this sound here was actually like this, and I was trying to play it with the lead, but you'll notice it actually occupies a very similar frequency space to the lead. Yeah, and I just thought, you know what, that really doesn't sound clean at all. But what I noticed was that this one was, for example, on an octave lower. So if I just go grab these and I just bring them an octave lower. Yeah, so you can actually see how that will actually clean it up as well. Now, in this particular instance, what I would say here is also applying that same trick, reducing the high end on this somehow through an EQ. This one's off, so let's just turn this one on. We can basically go ahead and do something like this. Now, there's two ways we can go about this. You can see how that makes a massive difference. So what I might do in this instance though is I might, let's say, I would like to clean up the high end anyway, I just realized. But for example, on this one, on the bus, we can do that. Have this automated to only turn on, let's say, here, and then keep it off. So when it does come in with the lead sounds, it's automatically on. Yeah, so you can see that makes a massive, massive difference already. So in this particular instance, you can see that it has cleaned up that high end. So if we go ahead and let's say play these. Okay, so now you can really see very clearly how when we're starting to introduce something like a lead element or like a lead or intro pluck or whatever that main intro area is, you can start coming in. That's going to occupy those high frequencies. You need those high frequencies in these parts when you're driving the track without the lead. As soon as it comes in, though, you don't want to take them away completely, but you do want to sort of do these kinds of tips and tricks to make space for that, because it's all about what's catching the ear of the listener at that time. You know, at this time earlier in the track, you've got the bass line catching the ear. It really needs to fill that space up. But as we progress through the track, it's really the focal point is going to start becoming this lead element. So, yeah, so that's really good. Now, another thing that I did actually here was I noticed these were actually if you look at where they're positioned, these runners, I usually like to have one center and one's 9 left and one's 9 right. Now, as soon as this came in, this was actually in the center, this intro lead. So what I did was I just thought, why not just move these out really fast? So if I just play this in solo. And I move these left and right. You can see it makes a nice amount of space for the other elements. So what I did was actually move this one about 30 left, and I moved this one about 30 right. Okay, so with that in mind, let's have a play. I'll play this now together. Right, sounding nice. So let's turn this actually off first, and then I'll show you how clean this mix sounds first without that sound. And we're going to talk about this lead element as well. So I actually want to show you what it sounds like without that first. So here we go. Right, so the reason I wanted to say that was because there was a dilemma with this intro melody as well, and in that in mind, I sometimes wanted to just bring the point that sometimes the melody itself may not be the right melody. You may need to actually change it. So in this particular one, if I play it with the melody, a bit muddy. I just don't feel like it fits, and I'm gonna play around with this more. But a few tips and tricks here is sometimes you can change the sounds, you can EQ it all you want, but sometimes it's just the melody itself may be, like in this case, too busy. It's just too. It might be too busy for this particular particular section. So I'm just gonna go ahead and, for example, delete these low subnotes from the melody and see if that makes it actually fit better. Yeah, that's a lot better. So we'll mix that in properly. Make sure it's... I don't know if I'll keep this as the final melody, but I'll just mix it in. And what I do here is, if you want to ever mix in something, you just want to look at the peak volume. So if I just... this is enabled to the peak volume. So it's about 11.4. Now, if I compare that to, let's say, something like the sequences... So that's 17.4. That's a peak volume of 17, I believe. At that particular point in the mix, mind you. All right, so that's peaking at about 14.2. That's pretty loud. Yeah, much nicer. So, again, I'll mix that down in my own time, but sometimes you may just want to change the melody up. So something like this, for example, could work. Just wanted to show you guys that. So yeah, I'll keep working on this, but really good ways to clean up those tracks. Really good way to sort of make space for these kinds of things, and always keep that in mind. So yeah, if you've made it this far, if you would like to subscribe, it would help us out a lot. Keep commenting, let us know what you want to know, and we can help you with it. And yeah, thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.